let's move to Indiana's defense, because we've talked a lot about Miami, and yet we haven't talked about maybe the strongest side of the ball on the team that's, guys, favored by 8.5 points in the national championship game. Indiana's defense, they've only allowed 25 points total in the playoffs. Now, there is an insane rumor going around that Indiana can only be this good. They can only be this effective. They can only be this efficient because they're cheating, because they've hacked into some database. They've found practice footage. They've stolen game tape. They have the calls and columns memorized, right? That's the only way that they could have.
Those Big Ten schools, I'm telling you, man, they just cheat. That's what they do.
That's the only way that they could have picked off Dante Moore, for instance, on the opening play of the game, right? Never mind the fact that on a simple bubble route, Moore stood and stared down his receiver for what felt like half a lifetime before he threw the ball. Guys, all that this actually says to me is that Bryant Hayes, the defensive coordinator, he's getting paid when his contract is up. Indiana's not cheating. Indiana's not out-talenting you. They're out-preparing you. Indiana is maybe the best team in the country on both sides of the ball at being prepared for what you bring to the table. And the fact that they had multiple weeks to get ready for the likes of Dante Moore and the quick throws that they wanted to get out sounds very similar to what Miami wants to do, right? Short passes, 5 yards and in, close to the line of scrimmage, the tunnel screen with the Malachi Toney over the middle. Brian Hayes is going to have all kinds of solutions for that. And I was listening to a radio interview that one of the authors over at Match Quarters does. He mentioned that Miami and Indiana systematically run the exact same defense. The difference is Miami can rely on the biggest, tallest, strongest, fastest athletes to say, here's our base coverage. We're going to bring a blitz. You know it's where it's coming from, and we don't care. We're going to take away your options anyway. Indiana doesn't have that luxury, right? Pons, maybe their best cornerback, he's 5'9", right? They don't have these guys that are built in the super lab. So instead, they've got to disguise their coverage. And that is what Indiana has done, I think, better than any team in the country this year. There was a screenshot taken from the Rose Bowl where Ty Simpson came out of play action, and obviously they have not run the ball well at all, but they tried it anyway. And by the time that Simpson came out of play action and looked up, the entire coverage, which had shown blitz off of his strong side, had completely switched, and everybody dropped it back into coverage, to the point where everywhere you looked for a white Alabama jersey, there was a crimson Indiana jersey, at least one of them, covering up every wide receiver. It's not cheating. It's not gaming the system. They're just better than you. And it's hilarious that Twitter has no idea how to actually handle proper X's and O's being carried out. The fact of the matter is, guys, Indiana is an NFL team playing college football right now.
But Mitch, Mark Cuban owns the cloud database. Like that's obviously a smoking gun, right? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
Totally. Listen, I've got.
I just want to preemptively tag Old Takes Exposed for when Indiana does have this massive scandal come out in like 5 years. But
Connor Stallions has backdoored his way into all the databases. He's actually an Indiana Hoosier now.
Who is Bonner Stallions, and why do we have him on the payroll?
Listen, I mean, is there some way that Indiana may be gaining an advantage? Who knows? But I will tell you that the success on the field, not because they stole some practice tape. It's not because they have a secret wire into your team's communication. They're just better than you.
Yeah, all jokes aside, I don't know if you guys knew this from watching the broadcast or not, but Indiana does not do as many on-the-field practices as other teams.
They don't?
I don't know if you... Yeah, I don't know if you heard that the 20,000 times I said it during the Oregon game, but I mean, they watch a lot of film. They're really good at preparing, and they're older players that have been around the block and have seen pretty much everything that you could see in college football. And that experience is just paramount at this point. And like I said off the top, if you're looking for an Indiana model to follow, again, I'm not sure that exists other than just winning the battles in the transfer portal and making sure that you're plugging holes that you need to plug with experience, talent over potential, I guess, is what they preach at Indiana, but production over potential, I should say. But yeah, I think that these are guys that are not going to make mistakes. And you can go so far in college football if you just don't make mistakes. Look at the other side of the ball. The one thing that's held Miami back, especially in the regular season, is the penalties. The pre-snap penalties on the offensive line, the targeting penalties in the secondary, the just reckless personal fouls on the sideline that almost handed Ole Miss the game at times in the semifinal. Indiana's not going to do that. They are not going to hand you points or hand you an extra possession. Yes, they jump on procedural penalties like any offensive line in college will do from time to time, but they are not going to give you an inch, and they're going to force you to earn every single thing. And that's the Indiana model. Like if you want something to emulate, you've got to find a way to get your team to do that. And good luck doing that with 18 to 22-year-olds. It's not easy. And Kirk Cignetti has found a way to do it.
Well, and to your point, on the other side of that, Miami does commit a lot of those penalties, right? And that was something that one of our friends over at the Variety Sports Network called out on Twitter when we asked for their storylines, their X factors. They said it's the penalty difference. Miami's going to commit more penalties. They're going to try and get Indiana to play that game with them. The Hoosiers won't. The Hoosiers are going to win. So that was ultimately why they picked Indiana to win that game in their projection.